All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, December 10th, 2014. And this is Before the First Cup with Jules and Lady Pitbull here on UCY.TV. Good morning, Lady Pitbull. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I just rolled out of bed.
Oh, me too.
I'm just like going, oh no. I think Zori's sick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think she's going to be out for the rest of the week.
That's how I'm feeling, actually.
Oh.
My face is hot, and all I want to do is sleep. That's all I know.
Oh.
I think it's called hibernation.
Yeah. I hear that. Oh, my goodness. I'm like my computer's like completely frozen and everything. Yeah. It's terrible. Oh no, I don't even know if these things will. Alright, it'll switch. I only got like 3 articles up.
I don't have anything up, so you're way ahead of me.
Wow. Oh my god. Let's see. And then the poor chat room keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, so I have no idea what's going on there. I can just X out of that, give it a little more pump here. Well,
just let it go.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. I'm sorry, I don't even have 1 cup of coffee yet. I'm blowing my nose.
Well, go ahead and get some coffee at least. My goodness.
I got a cup sitting here. I just haven't had a sip.
Oh. Well, let's see. I'm gonna stay away from civil asset forfeiture because that's all we ever talk about sometimes. I'm kind of getting sick of it. All right.
Well, can I be honest here?
Sure.
I'm kind of sick about talking about any and all of the news. Did you know that?
Too. You know,
I really don't even. This show, honestly, guys, I think we should all take our 2 hours and save it with a rollover and an additional 2 hours of sleep.
I agree.
I was thinking, as far as fighting the New World Order, 2 extra hours of sleep every day would probably give us the strength to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact,
it's just been so insanely busy. I can't keep up anymore. I can't. I have 24/7 for the network, and then add to that family, holidays.
Sure.
Eating, sleeping, showering, I mean, there isn't enough time in the day.
I know, and there's not enough time in the day or in the night because these bastards just keep rolling on 24/7. And it's hard. It's really difficult. I agree. I mean, I'm kind of like at the point myself where I'm just going, I can't even deal with it. I ripped apart Dianne Feinstein yesterday, so that was good.
I pay attention, but I don't know. I mean, do I really have any? When I watch some of the torture report, absolutely, and you knew it was coming, and you knew it was going to be bad, and you knew George Porgy and all of his buddies were involved.
Yeah.
Are you surprised? No. Are you surprised as to how they're setting this all up now, going, oh, warning, warning, now we're going to be attacked by terrorists around the world? Yeah. Wow, that wasn't predictable. Right?
No doubt. I mean, especially after John Kerry came out and was like, well, we better not release these because it could embolden our enemies. How often do they say that? Like every time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just retarded. I mean, and we sit here and bitch about it all day, and it doesn't help a damn thing. You know what I mean? That's where I'm having a problem with. It just sucks. bitching and nothing, it doesn't help. It just succeeds in creating more bitchy.
Well, I could tell you stuff helps. I mean, start writing stories. I'm over at 120,000 views in a week on my stories.
Goodness.
If that means anything.
It does mean something. That means something.
I mean, it is making a difference.
Mm-hmm,
just, I don't know. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I need sleep. My face is hot.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I got like that clammy, sweaty thing going. And it's snowing like Christmas here.
No.
Yeah, you're not getting any?
Nothing.
Oh, this is that storm, I bet. The nor'easter coming the other direction. Yeah, because normally it comes from your way.
Yeah, this time it came from the east.
I woke up, and it looks like a winter wonderland. There's.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, it's not heavy, but there's probably. I'm just looking. There's probably about a half an inch out there, but it's packing snow. So
that's pretty.
It's stacking up on everything, you know.
Yeah,
I bet JJ got a good amount.
Oh yeah, it snowed up a little more where he is.
I don't know, but that whole storm was coming from the east, and the easter that you were, the more snow you were getting.
Yeah, there's a nor'easter on the east, and I guess there's a pretty big significant rain event going on in California too, all over the whole state.
Yep, California was getting it good.
Mm-hmm. So yesterday, I mean, I gotta mention something that I completely missed yesterday. I was talking about how stupid ass LeBron James, during a freaking basketball game, had a T-shirt on that said "I can't breathe."
I saw that.
And I didn't know what eluded me at the time was, I guess, the prince and the princess were at that game.
I saw that too.
I missed that at the time, and that's significant because that completely speaks to the fact that that T-shirt that he's wearing contributes to this whole psychological operation that I did mention yesterday. But it just emphasizes it because the prince and the princess, the royalty was there, you know, so that makes me sick, and it even makes me more sick because they were present. So, I don't know, it just goes to shove it down everybody's throat. And look, I mean, I don't agree that the cops killed this guy. I don't agree with that at all. But I don't agree that they're taking the last words coming out of a poor dead guy's mouth and exploiting the shit out of it. That pisses me off. And now at every single protest, it's I can't breathe, I can't breathe. I mean, do people realize like what you're doing? I mean, you're making this shit worse, and that's why I disagree with it. And so now it's the brunt of people's jokes. You know what I mean? It just turns into this sick, twisted thing, and I mean, I have to admit, I joked about it last night with a cop. So, I mean, I don't know. It just twists into something that shouldn't even be in the first place. Those cops should have been indicted, and that's all there is to it. But, I'm done with that part. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly at the point where I don't care very much anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you ever get to that point? Because I am at that point right about now.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I really don't want to talk about that anymore. I just had to get that out so I could say what I had to say. Well, here's one. Here's a Dutch train to get lasers to zap debris in the tracks. It's nice and short, so I thought, I don't know, tech-wise. It says, you might not see leaves as a hazard, but train operators would beg to differ. Foliage on the tracks not only makes it harder for trains to stop, but also makes with anti-collision signals. But also messes with anti-collision signals, okay? If I could read it right. Maybe it would come out right. The greenery might not be much of a danger, and for much longer, however, Dutch Railways is testing a laser system that zaps leaves and other organic material before it reaches the wheels, keeping the tracks clean. You can already use water jets and sand gels to do this, but they have limited supplies and sometimes damage the rails. The lasers run so long as the train has power, and they may actually help the metal by drying it, preventing the leaves from sticking. That's kind of weird. Technology's readiness depends on the conquering problems with vibrations, which can throw the laser off. The Dutch system developed by Strunken Rail turns the laser off when it's going to miss the track. It's also useful only at speeds under 50 miles an hour, so you won't see high-speed trains scrubbing the tracks in mid-trip. Alright, well that's good. Even still, this limited implementation could be useful, say for tracks, not only protect passengers, but also minimize delays needed to clean the tracks. Eventually, you may never have to worry that autumn weather will sabotage your travel plans. Yikes-o-rama. Why in the hell did I even read that?
It vaporizes cows, too.
Right. Yeah. If a cow's in the tracks, I don't think a laser's gonna necessarily do anything about it.
We got instant hamburgers.
Yeah. Stop for a barbecue.
I can't get chat to load either.
I can't. I totally can't. I don't know if it's because it's just bizarre. Oh man, crazy. I
know.
Try it one more time here. I can get the page to load.
Yeah, just chat doesn't load. I'm trying to remember what the actual chat module name is to see if I can find it.
Oh, the chat isn't even on the page.
No, it is. There's no... Flash isn't loading for the page, but if we knew what the actual chat name was, which I created it, so I should remember it, but it's way too early, and I don't really...
Well, I just refreshed the page or whatever, and the chat's not even there. Not even the chat. It's.
I know, Wendy. The Flash isn't loading.
Oh, it's crazy.
But if you remembered what the chat name was, you could go to the main Chatango page for it.
That's right. Which happens to be it's listed right here somewhere. I know it is. Where'd it go?
On the chat page that's not loading?
I just see a naked white box.
Right, that's what I said. We got to remember what the name in the chat is to get there.
Shoot.
Except I'm having trouble at the moment because I need to have some more coffee.
Oh. Alright, let's see here. That sucks.
I think it's UCY chat, but hold on. Oh, ucyradio.chatango.com.
That's it. There we go. Right. Nope, I'm not getting them on any pages that I'm going to.
Yeah, it won't. I can't even get it to load from Chatango's page, so they must be down.
Yeah, it's got to be them.
I'm looking at one more thing to see if we could do HTML5. And I think Chatango probably was taken down for technical difficulty.
They're messing with us. I mean, I would post, comments or whatever, and immediately after they posted into the chat room, they would immediately be the whole page would blink. And,
yeah, I heard you say that. That's weird.
Yeah,
but, here's the thing. This program has been out there forever, and hackers galore have access to it. So
that's true.
Could have just been somebody messing with you.
Yeah.
I doubt the NSA is going to be sitting there, deleting your comments, going, look at it, she's all paranoid now.
Oh, Michael, Hammy says that there's 3 people in the chat, Vince and Captain Gringo and Hammy. So.
Nice.
Hi, guys. Hi, 3 guys.
Yeah, 3 guys in chat that no one can get to.
Right. Oh my goodness. Well, at least it's up somewhere, so that's good. That's good.
Well, could just do it like old-fashioned radio and listen.
Yeah, that's true. That's what it is. It's old-fashioned radio. Hey.
Hold on. Speaking of old-fashioned radio. Oh, hold on. I gotta add myself. It's been such a long time, I don't even remember how to do radio.
Oh, no.
What's my name? Honestly, I swear to God. See, this is what worries me when I feel like I'm getting sick, or I'm at a point now where I gotta let something go and put myself first, just because I've been doing all this sleep, and I honestly don't feel like I got any sleep. You know what I mean? And my body is just feeling so worn down, and I feel like parts of it feeling damaged, you know?
Oh, that's not good.
So I need to really focus on getting my ass in gear and doing my crazy exercises I was doing every day and eating all my green shit that, you know, makes you smell like rabbit turds. But I'll tell you what, even though I smelled like rabbit turds, I felt pretty damn healthy for a while, and I'm not feeling like that right now. I'm feeling like I want to crawl into a ball and just die.
Oh, that's not good. You know what's been helping me out huge, I mean, it's just huge, is I got this liquid B12.
I heard you. I had a friend who used to actually do B12 and caffeine, maybe. And he used to tell me it was like a Powerball.
It is. Even just that, the B12 in itself is like crack or something.
Yeah. I never investigated. I mean, my bees, I took my stress tabs every single morning for all the years that I was an engineer. Because, I mean, that was a job you felt like throwing yourself off of a bridge over at times.
Yeah.
And the stress tabs have all your B vitamins as well as some vitamin C and trying to think of what they would put in there. Zinc, maybe some iron. You know, and C and zinc are good for fighting colds and whatever. But all the bees are what got my attention, because before the stress tabs, I had never known about the B vitamins. Hold on, let me hang this up. I just wanted to... Hello, hang up. All right. I just wanted to connect, so I had it there. The B vitamins, I really had never investigated until I found the stress tabs, and the only reason I was taking stress tabs is because that job was so damn stressful, and I was like, oh look, stress tabs, how great. But the one thing I discovered, and I mean, this was pretty early on, too. This was late 90s, early 2000s, when I first started taking these, because that's when I was still working out in the Buffalo office. And what I realized is that anytime I would take a stress tab, the world would seem just so much sunnier. And to be honest, I know I still have a bottle of those here somewhere. Because I used to buy a bottle for me and a bottle for Paul. And I would get the iron, and he would get the zinc version. They would say the zinc was the men's, but I mean, I would take either or. It didn't matter to me.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. Zinc's as good as iron is for you. You know, they're all necessary.
Sure.
But, yeah, it would make, like, a totally cloudy, horrible, rotten morning, and I wake up often feeling rotten and nasty. And it would turn it into a sunny one where I was happy to sit and have a cup of coffee and a chat. And I'm like, wow, how did that happen? So, I had my one friend... We'll just call him Bob. And, oh my God, I love Bob. Bob was the most miserable freaking person on the planet.
Oh.
You're out there, Bob. I miss Bob so bad. He's retired now. I was a little bit older than me. But he taught me everything. You know what? Bob was just so nasty, but I used to hang out with him all the time. And I was like, you know what, dude? You're awesome, because I didn't think there was anyone on the planet that could be meaner and nastier than me. And I mean, he was mean, nasty, and miserable. But, and you know, it seems like that's a pattern in my life. Anyone who's mean and nasty, I really like them and they become my good friend. But I think it's because they help me go, oh, Jill, you're not as bad as you thought you were. And we get along.
Right?
I think it's because I grew up with an environment like that, you know? I don't know. Well, I hit the bar. My grandmother, chuck you, Charlie! That was grandmotherly love.
Oh, that's
but
I loved her, man. I absolutely would have loved her.
and she was 4'11".
Oh, I love that.
With the color, you know what? Actually, I think I'm channeling my inner grandma when it's color. It's hair color week.
Yeah.
I actually do, and I've been doing my hair probably 20 years now, this color, just because it makes me happy. But when I was doing it a couple nights ago, I was like, oh, God, you know what? This is the same color Grandma used to do her hair.
That's funny.
At least my body doesn't let me drink extensively.
Yeah. Oh,
a beer a month, and I'm feeling it.
Oh, my God. I totally drank last weekend, like, oh my God. I was throwing up the whole next day. It sucked. I'm like, why am I doing
That's
this?
nothing to be proud of.
It's not. It's
Pukin and I do not get along ever. If there's one thing, I think I told everyone this before, there's one thing on the top of my list that I want to avoid is puking. And so that is quite the dangling carrot for me to stay away from anything harder than beer. Ever. Because, I mean, anything, and beer's even put me there a couple times, but I really have to be just about held down and with a funnel.
Yeah, exactly.
2 beers and I'm sleeping. 1 I'm buzzed, 2 I'm out. It's, I think, a natural protection mechanism from puking.
I don't even like the taste of beer, so I have to drink the hard stuff. And I pay. And then when I mix the shit, it's worse.
La 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 la. Too early to be talking about alcohol.
It really is.
I don't think that thought ever enters my mind for at least another 12 to 15 hours.
All right, until the night.
And then it's just fleeting.
Good. I need to have it fleeting too.
Beer, sleep, and sleep always wins. Not always, but
most.
It tries.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying before we detoured to puking.
Oh, saying something about
hair color and grandma. That's all I remember. But I remember how I got there.
Oh man.
But I do remember one thing.
What's that? I think I heard it.
If anyone doesn't know what that is the freestanding version of the bleep button for UCY.TV.
I love it. We were having so much fun on Saturday night with that.
I've used it a couple times. I've been sitting here a few times just listening to shows going boing, boing, boing. When I've been frustrated, boing, 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 boing. I was like, yeah! Gives the network some interactivity. And especially now, you poor people who can't get your fingers working in chat, I bet you want something to sit there and click. So, for those of you who cannot get to the chat room, you can go to ucy.tv/games/gong, and it should get you there.
Games, huh? What if you didn't put the gong in there? Are there actually games in there?
No, there's nothing in there, but Paul and I had actually asked him a long time ago. There's all kinds of little JavaScript games that are floating around out there for free. I was like, hey, do you think we could make like a little box so as you're sitting listening to the show and all your friends are in chat, we could play a game of like, I don't know, poker or Stratego between two of us, And he's like, absolutely we could. That might actually be fun.
That's interesting.
We could sit there and play, games while we're listening to the show in chat.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who sit in chat and have the shows muted. Why not?
I think there's a lot of that goes on, too.
Oh, I know there is, but just because I can see what the real-time numbers are.
Uh-huh.
and I can see what the chat numbers are. So, like during shows, anything that's in chat, multiply that probably by 4+ times as far as real listening numbers, like especially in the evenings. But once you get past midnight, you'll see sometimes there's like 14 people in chat. I'm like, wow, that's good for 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you'll see that there's like 4 of me. And there's maybe 2 JJs and 3 Anons. And but if you actually go to the stats, like for how many physical addresses are connected to the stream, you'll see like 5. But there's 13.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know. It just depends. No, it's not interesting. It's because there's 5 of me in chat. Well, I don't have 5 players going.
Right. Well, it's just because you're in different windows, right? Because that's what happens to me. Like if I'm like got 2 windows open up
and 4 computers connected, yeah. Every machine usually has a browser up with a chat page. But, when I see that I've been in there for like 3,872 hours. Hey, look, now, finally at a flash crash, I try to find out where I have the show open and go close them.
Yeah, mine still isn't working.
Mine's trying. It's trying. Though I'm wondering, what is this st.chatango.com? ST.
Now, I just hit the bleep button. You didn't hear that, did you?
No, because you're not connected to for playing your desktop.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Good. That's fine. So now what? I don't know.
I could go look at my news feed.
Or we could just keep yakking.
I probably want to talk about something that has some significance, but let me find...
2 psychologists paid more than $80 million for enhanced interrogation program? What? That's a Pigmine one.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten to that yet.
Holy crap. These people, I don't know. These people are just sick. Those are the bastards. The ones who paid that should have been interrogated themselves.
Well, I'm seeing that a lot of other countries were also complicit in this and didn't say a damn thing. And here's one. CIA paid Poland to host its secret prisons and detainees. Now, I had read something about Poland before, and that's where we were trying to put the missile shield. And remember, Poland was saying, oh, we need it as protection against Russia. And they were saying, no, you don't, Poland. They said, yes, they do. But I saw, too, the UK is they were trying to get rid of any evidence of their involvement in this. They were trying to keep it kind of under the covers. See, this is really horrific. And then, of course, Georgie Porgy's come out a few times, and he's like, there was nothing in the CIA report. And McCain! I bet you McCain was an architect.
Oh, you know it.
By the way, I actually pulled down the entire interactive manual on this report yesterday from, I think it was the New York Times. They had the whole thing online.
Wow.
That was right before I went to bed, so it should be right at the top.
Heavily redacted, yeah?
I don't know. I didn't get through it. I saved it for this morning.
Oh, hey, there you go. I don't know. And then Georgie Porgy says that Hillary is his sister-in-law. That was just a joke and a half.
And Bill is his brother from another mother.
Yeah, Bill's his brother.
And then I was actually watching an interview with Barbara Bush saying about how lovely the Clintons are, and they've adopted them. It's like, wow, I don't know if I would want the Bushes publicly. If I was thinking about running for office, that's probably not the best time for the Bushes to publicly be telling everybody how close we are.
That's kind of funny, because if they set up another run where Hillary's going to run against Jebby, then
Bush said it.
Right.
Bush said it.
Didn't he?
What?
Then they're going to be like, pretending in public that that they hate each other, and then, oh look,
I don't think so now, though. I mean, Bush said it, how close they were, and Candy, whatever her name is. By the way, that woman that was interviewing him, I don't remember her last name, Candy something or other from CNN, that was interviewing Bush in that segment that you're talking about. A story came out like a day or two after that interview that she was leaving. She was leaving CNN. But I didn't see that anywhere else. Like, it never made news or any... Like, one story I saw that was in a trending list somewhere. And, I mean, even the people who follow the mainstream news clips didn't know.
Bizarre.
It's weird after... And she was, like, chief White House correspondent. So that is really strange.
That is weird. Something must
And not even like really a word about it, or farewell, Candy, thank you for your 25 years of service, or you know what I mean? Like
she was there for 25 years.
Yeah, she was there a really long time. But just like absolute hush hush, she's leaving. Let's give her last hurrah by letting her interview GW.
Yeah, that's something else. Let me tell you.
But he literally comes out and he's like, she said, if it were between Hillary and your brother Jeb, who would win? And he's like, Jeb would. And
Candy Crowley.
Crowley, that's her name, yeah.
That was Charles, thank you.
But, so I don't know. He was pretty outspoken about them being brothers from another mother. And that was a pretty out there interview. So if they try to pretend then that they're enemies on the backside, I don't know if that's going to fly too well.
Well, I mean,
and where's Billy Boy going to be too?
Yeah, right.
Where's the other brother? What's the Bush brother that was always in trouble?
Oh, it's not Jeb.
Or was that Carter? That was Carter. Never mind. But Jeb, here's another thing people forget quickly. Wasn't Jeb the one who was responsible for the timeline shift where Al Gore didn't end up being president of the United States?
That's correct.
I thought so. Yes.
That was down in Florida when he was governor.
Yes, I thought so. So how are they going to get around those questions? I think we should mount a campaign on that.
Yeah, that alone.
Ballots missing or
hanging chads and all that crap.
Hanging chaps? Is that what you said?
Chads.
What's that?
You used to remember that whole scandal with it was hanging chads and we couldn't accurately count the votes. Remember that?
Mm-mm. I don't remember hanging chads.
Yeah, because they were these punch cards that they used.
Yeah, I remember the punch cards. And they managed to do it before electronic voting.
Yeah.
It's the Spanish Soros company who counts the electronic votes.
Yeah, Soros. That's right. Absolutely. Right on the money.
Oh, yeah, Hammy brought up a good point. Neil Bush was the head of the Silverado Savings and Loan.
That's it. Neil Bush. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. And then here's Chuck. He said, Charles Clinton, Neil Bush, and Billy Carter.
There it is. I know. Roll them all up into one.
Yeah.
I think it's one big genetic cluster of. Mix them all up. Didn't we? So you were talking about the Prince William and Kate, the lizard spawner, being here the other day, and there was one thing that I thought was interesting. Did you see that they took a commercial airline to fly from New York City to DC to go see Barry?
No.
Yeah, he climbed onto a commercial airliner, and everyone on the plane almost dropped dead. And they rode coach. And then I was reading, I guess the last time he was here, he and Prince Harry were here attending some sort of bachelor party, I guess, for a friend of theirs or something in Tennessee. And when William was ready to head back, he changed his flight, but I guess it was too expensive. And so he went coach again and flew back coach the last time he was in the U.S.
Too expensive? What?
Well,
that's bizarre.
Well, it's not really that bizarre. I mean, he always came off to me as someone who was a little more level-headed. I mean, being like I grew up in the days of Lady Di being murdered. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That really affected. And I mean, I think she was a good person. I don't think she was one of the evil lizard people.
No.
The fact that these were her kids, Harry, I don't know. Harry reminds me of like the Omen. Not in a bad way, but he's got this weird look to him. Harry, I'm not so sure about. But William, now I did see the photo where he had the lamb and he was holding the cloven foot thing, and that was kind of bizarre. But every time I see William, he makes me think of Lady Di. He looks a lot like her.
Aww.
Can't you see it? I mean, when you look at his face, you could definitely see it. And so I hate to think bad of him at times, but here's something interesting, though. The other day, a story came out, and just about, my friend and I were talking about this. Even Mark Dice missed it, and he's normally on top of, like, the Illuminati stuff, but there was a story that came out about, originally, probably about a year ago, that they had found bones underneath the parking lot. And I think I mentioned this the other day. In England, when they were excavating, and they did some DNA testing, and they discovered absolutely, they thought they were bones of King Richard, and I think King Richard III. And they are. It also lines up with exactly where the abbey was that he was supposedly buried under. And the most interesting part about all of it was the fact that it shows via his DNA that supposedly the Stuart line had some illegitimacy in it.
That's right.
And so that leads into question the entire ruling monarchy in England right now.
That's huge.
That is huge. And, I'd like to know, here it is. DNA testing. Hold on, we'll go there. Let's load it up.
It's kind of like Bill Clinton.
Here. Does Richard III's DNA question the Queen's right to the throne?
Oh, boy.
Hunchback King's genetic comparison with distant cousins reveals an illegitimate child in the royal family tree. And, I'm going to tell you what. When you look at the family tree, so we got... what's his name? The father, Charles, King Charles. No, he's not King. Prince.
Yeah, Prince Charles.
The prince who will never get to be king. I don't think.
Yeah.
That old bat's hanging on. So we got the Queen, but the Queen's got a kick for Charles to get the throne. But Charles has had 2 children since then. I am watching this play out. I honestly don't think that Charles. I mean, it may be for a very small amount of time, but I don't think Charles is going to stick around too long to be king, even if the old woman kicks at some point. He's getting up there in age.
I think because he married Camilla, that there's some kind of weird royal provision where she can't be, like, the queen.
Which is possible. She's scary.
I know. I think there was some kind of weird royal prenup written there.
I don't know. But regardless of whether or not there was a prenup or whether or not Charles can even take the throne, I found it interesting that the reason why William was flying to D.C. was to meet with Barry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where he was headed, was for a meeting with Barry. And I was like, how many times have you ever seen Charles here meeting with Barry?
Never.
Never? Right. So... I don't know, that was some grooming going on or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm going to read a little bit of this. Analysis proves the skeleton in the parking lot belongs to King Richard, but it also revealed one of Richard III's male relatives was cuckolded. Cuckolded? I thought that was beaten around the head and neck by some yappy person. cuckolded. Hold on, we're going to look up the definition of cuckolded.
Good, because I have no freaking clue. I wouldn't even know how to spell that.
Every time you see a cuckold, it's someone getting beaten around the... Oh, well, maybe we won't read this. Oh, it's adulterous. Adulterous. Yikes. I always thought it was getting beaten up by a yappy woman around the head and ears for being bad and running around. So maybe that's where that came from. All right, experts claim break in the mail line probably occurred lower down the line. Researchers pieced together sections of Richard III's family tree, and they found 2 female line descendants who are alive today.
Oh, uh-oh.
Da, da, da.
Jeez. Where's the gong noise?
Yeah, is it even open? Here it is. Oh, I'm not even connected, though, so that's not good.
That's okay.
Right. Now I lost my page.
Oh, shit. Right.
Analysis shows the king almost certainly had blue eyes and blonde hair. He is one of the nation's most notorious monarchs, and King Richard III is still creating controversy more than 500 years after his death. Genetic analysis of a battle-scarred skeleton discovered under a parking lot. There are cemeteries even around here that at one point, 100 years ago, it was all woods and pretty babbling brooks, and now it's like a 6-lane highway that this graveyard's sitting next to with a couple big old few 100-year-old trees sitting in the middle of it, which makes me so sad when I see stuff like that. But how'd you like to be a former king and you find yourself 500 years in the future buried under a parking lot?
Yeah, I mean, how
Isn't that disturbing?
It is. That's complete disrespect for the damn monarchy line, those bastards.
Well, I mean, how did they... King Richard was pretty famous, and he originally, somewhere in one of these stories I was reading, that there was some abbey or whatever that he had been buried in, that's typically what they would do, is they would put, like, famous bodies of kings or... I don't know if they actually put priests there. Usually it was kings. Would be under the church floor, under the abbey. Like when they would, that was where the special place, the special resting place. Like for, back in the days of the Holy Grail, the Middle Ages, that's what they used to do.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the weird thing. When they took that abbey down, wouldn't somebody have thought to excavate or
to get a university involved,
something? I mean, geez, it's highly disrespectful to put a parking lot there.
Absolutely. Wow. Genetic analysis of the battle-scarred skeleton discovered under a parking lot in Leicester 3 years ago. So it was 3 years ago already. I remember when that story first came out. I was like, oh my God, they found the bones of King Richard III under a parking lot. Has confirmed that it did indeed belong to the Plantagenet, whatever that word means, king. But remember, this is a UK publication. But it may also have exposed skeletons in the closet for the British aristocracy, undermining the Tudor dynasty, and could even raise a question mark over the current queen's royal heritage.
Well, that's why they buried it under a freaking parking lot, because...
Maybe.
You know what I
mean? Maybe they knew that he was illegitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that Plantagenet is a last name. That was his last name.
Oh, wow.
Or his father's last name.
And so there's 2 people of that bloodline still alive today, huh?
Well, yeah, it shows... Research considered genetic material from 2 female line descendants of Richard's sister, Anne of York, a woman named Wendy Duldig, and a man named Michael Ibsen, and they've both tracked them down, too.
Wow.
That is interesting. And they show the whole bloodline here from his sister, who was apparently legitimate, to him, who apparently was illegitimate. And yes, it was the Middle Ages. He lived between 1452 and 1485. That's my time period. So yeah, they did bury them under abbeys. That was exactly the time period that I'm talking about. They would put them in the floor in the church.
It's how they bury the popes.
Is that? Yeah, actually,
in the basement.
Isn't that where they were looking for the Holy Grail?
Yeah.
Who knows where the hell that went to?
Like, Pope John Paul is under the Vatican.
I didn't know he was under the Vatican.
Yeah.
DNA analysis has revealed a break in the male line of Richard's family tree, and this means one of Richard III's male relatives was cuckolded, leading to his wife to give birth to another man's child. So that's what cuckold means. So the wife must have been running around. Oh.
My goodness. Freaking soap opera.
And back in those days, you got the scarlet letter if it was found out that you were running around. And because they were supposedly royals, I bet they kept that quiet.
Oh, you know it. He
could have had her executed for that, you know.
He probably did.
Or burn at the stake.
Shit. Somebody is...
Mute.
Yeah, thanks. I'll be right back.
Researchers also considered genetic material from the two female line descendants of Richard's sister, Anne of York, and a man named Michael Ibison and a woman named Wendy Duldig were shown to be descendants. They will be able to confirm that Miss Duldig is a niece of Richard III, 18 times removed. This is Richard III, the father, while Michael Ibsen is Richard III's nephew, 16 times removed. Depending on who was unfaithful in the family tree, it could have far-reaching consequences. The discovery was made by international researchers trying to prove that the skeleton really was Richard. They pieced together sections of Richard III's family tree right down to Ms. Duldig and Mr. Ibsen. The pair are the 14th cousins twice removed, and their last common ancestor lived in the 16th century. The team, led by the Leicester University, then compared the DNA of these living relations with genetic material extracted from the 15th century's king's teeth and bones, and their analysis showed that the DNA passed down on the maternal side, which is called the mitochondrial DNA, I believe, is how they do that. I think I've talked about that National Geographic project they've been doing for years, asking people to do a cheek swab for DNA so they could track the mitochondrial DNA to find out where civilization supposedly began on Earth. That's the easiest way to go back through family lines. Given the wealth of the other details linking the body to Richard III, scientists concluded that infidelity is the most likely explanation, and it isn't clear where in the family tree it occurred. But if it occurred close to the top of the tree near Richard III, it could be of key historical significance regarding royal succession. Of particular interest is the link between Edward III and his son John of Gaunt. If John of Gaunt was actually another man's son, the Tudor's right to the throne is absolutely threatened. Oh.
Bingo. I bet you somebody knows something somewhere, that's for sure.
We should be paying attention to whether or not there are any geneticists that end up dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is pretty big.
Or if these Wendy person or the other person you mentioned that are the living, actually, they end up dead. I'm surprised they're even there.
Well, I think probably more of a threat would be just the fact that the cat's out of the bag. And if you take a look at how many millions the UK public pays on a yearly basis to finance all the houses and the cars and the bullshit for the royals. Mm-hmm. It would come into question why they would even be keeping this fake aristocracy in place. I mean, it's not like they even pass any laws or hold any real purpose except for ceremonial type crap.
Exactly.
They're not making laws or, maybe they run out and do benevolency stuff. But, Prince Harry's the head of the royal army, I believe, or whatever, the royal fighting force.
Yeah. That's right. He had like a couple of years in Iraq, and now he's been promoted.
Uh-huh. So maybe that's the only thing that they have is they're the warmongers.
Oh boy, this is interesting. Glad you're reading it.
I'm not going to read anymore though. It's too long.
Oh, I see.
Too long! But if anyone is interested, it is a pretty interesting story. And I don't know what other conclusions to draw from this, except that at some point, if they really wanted to clamp on and figure out how to get rid of those bloodsuckers, this would probably be it.
Absolutely.
Explore this one. There's a video. We could do that. Hold on.
Hey, there you go.
Actually, it'd be a good excuse for me to get some more coffee.
Yay!
Definitely a 2 or a 3 coffee morning. There we go. There's the call. Hold on.
At some point.
Oh. Hold on. I don't know where chat's not even open here, so there's just got to be a blank page sitting. Hey, has anyone been able to get in a chat yet? I decided to give it a shot, and it's still a big white long rectangle.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to kill that page then. Come on. Come on. All right. Here we go. King Richard. So much for the setup.
Ah.
Mute. It's a commercial. Da, 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 da. I'm gonna sing. Da, 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 da. Oh, here it comes. Da, 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 da. All right, here we go. Maybe.
It is the academic conclusion of the university.
They messed with me because I muted the commercial. So then when I tried to play whatever the clip was, they decided to mess with me and make it all the way down to the very bottom of the minus, so there was no volume at all, and it's not easy to see how to make the volume come up, so that will serve me right for muting those commercials. All right, here we go again. Now we can play this clip. Oh, it's going to make me watch the ad again. You bastard!
Of course it does.
Bastard!
Everybody.
This time it's echoey. Alright, we're going to try this again.
The king of the car park. What has been speculated about for so long has now finally been confirmed.
It is the academic conclusion of the University of Leicester that beyond reasonable doubt, the individual exhumed at Greyfriars in September 2012 is indeed Richard III, the last Plantagenet King of England.
So these human bones found in a public car park in the Midlands are definitely those of England's Richard III. The skeleton showed signs of injuries consistent with the wounds he received at the 1485 Battle of Bosworth. Also, the DNA taken from Michael Ibsen, a Canadian-born carpenter, believed to be a direct descendant of Richard's sister Anne of York, helped solve the riddle.
It was startling, shocking in so many ways. And I remember at one point, after they'd excavated the remains, standing before this hole in the ground in this car park and thinking, here we think the slain Richard III for 500 years, and there's a link between myself and this man. Extraordinary, really.
So what will happen to Richard III's remains now? Well, some would like them to stay in Leicester, while others would like to see a state funeral for the King in London.
And they should at least properly... They should at least properly bury the guy.
Yeah, at least. I mean, geez. I mean, so I don't know how all that stuff works, but wouldn't that guy, the direct descendant, be the king right now? I mean, wouldn't he be like the rightful king?
I'm not sure about that.
I don't either. It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know. It's interesting, that's for sure. I mean, I doubt they're going to have a state ceremony for the guy.
For King Richard? I would think that they probably should.
They absolutely should, but if they want to keep stuff under wraps, they probably won't. So as not to draw any more attention to it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Who knows? It's definitely interesting, that's for sure.
I just noticed that a lot of people didn't pick up that one, and they should. I mean, there were some big implications there. All right, I am over to my behind the curtain page now, and this is where the meat and potatoes of the show go. There's so much freaking stuff here. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. I mean, there were a couple stories that we should probably look at. I don't know if anyone wants to chime in, too, since there's no chat. You want to share thoughts with each other, you guys can call in. I'll pick up. I see a story here. I don't know if I'm ready to get into this, but here, let's do two that don't have to do with the CIA torture report, or with Ferguson, or with Eric Garner.
Yay!
By the way, there is another grand jury case coming, and this is out of Brooklyn, and I don't remember the guy's name. I'd have to look it up. But in the middle of all this, there were two other shootings that happened in the middle of Garner and the Darren Wilson case. And there was one that happened in Brooklyn, and it was an unarmed man late at night in a project walking up a stairwell heading home, and a rookie cop killed him.
Oh, that's right.
That one is going to grand jury right now to determine whether or not there's charges.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was the one in Cleveland, which we did hear more about that. There was the kid with the toy gun.
Yeah.
That the 911 caller had definitely said that they thought the gun was fake. But what didn't come out about that story is the fact that that cop in Cleveland had been on another police force just before that outside of the city of Cleveland, and they had ruled him to be not up to snuff to be a cop. He had lots of issues in controlling his firearm.
Oh.
And that was discovered in training. And he was about ready to lose his job. He was going to be fired, and he went to the Cleveland Police Department. And Cleveland never checked his personnel record.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. So now we have, again, criminal Attorney General Eric Holder getting involved, this time in the Cleveland PD. And he's like, oh, there's quite a history of abuses. So now they've opened an investigation into all of this in Cleveland. And, you know, I mean, it has to be kind of a joke when you have what's supposed to be the law of the land that's just as corrupt, if not more, Fast and Furious, as I say all the time.
Yeah.
You know, that's investigating all this stuff. But then you have, and this is one of the things, if I could ever get enough sleep again, my once in a month enough sleep to write another story, this whole UN thing that's going on, this UN encroachment, and I can see the black wings of evil coasting over us, looking down like a big raptor bird of some sort with big pointy teeth. Well, they don't have teeth, but beaks and talons.
And a little blue helmet.
Yes, and a little blue helmet, ready to sweep down for humanitarian aid, which, can you see the setup here?
Oh, yeah.
We're being abused. They're cutting off our water. They're killing us in the streets, UN, help us. I mean, I'm telling you guys, there's guns everywhere. We need them taken away. I see this setting up like plain as day, and every single time. So this Michael Brown case out of Ferguson, I did that story on the parents, the stepfather and the mother, the parents going to Geneva. And what did they testify in front of? Oh, the UN Torture Committee. Oh, wait. What just was released? Oh,
that's right.
The torture report. Guys, I'm telling you, this is a setup to show how our humanitarian concerns are not being met here in this country. Our government now is running over our rights, and now it is a humanitarian issue that should get international attention and intervention.
That's right.
Prediction.
Perfect setup.
Prediction. Absolutely.
Perfect setup.
And you want to talk about connecting the dots? When I first heard they were going to release this UN torture report, I'm like, wait a minute. Did we just have Brown's parents at the torture committee? I mean, it was literally a month-long event in Geneva.
Yeah.
I actually pulled down that whole report. I have that embedded in one of the stories.
That's right. I'll tell you, this is, I think you're calling it totally here, Jules.
And isn't this whole small arms treaty that Zori said that Kerry apparently signed, but Congress didn't, but they're putting it into effect at the end of December?
Yes, and the 24th, apparently, it goes into effect.
Yeah, so what?
The timing is impeccable for all of this.
Sure is. So I don't know, we might need peacekeepers on the streets at some point, right? Like they do in Africa?
Yeah, where's the NATO troops? Hey.
Yeah. Well, haven't they been training them? Weren't they training all those foreign troops?
Damn right they have. This is sick, and the precedence. It's not even the precedence is being set here. It's like somebody pushed the go button on their plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at what's happened all across the Middle East with, the Arab Springs or whatever. And then it got violent. And then they took the government down. And then, NATO had to come in and clean things up. And it was a humanitarian crisis. Think about it.
Yeah, just like they did in Rwanda.
Yeah, well, they did it all over. So look at the situation we're in right now. Now, honestly, I tried to get as much sleep as possible yesterday, so I didn't catch a lot of the stories late as far as how bad like the protests in Berkeley and stuff got. But, I'm just telling you, we all feel frustration. And actually, I got to tell you, it did give me like a smile on my face that people finally got off their asses and stood up and did something. But I don't think that I think this is engineered. Yes. I think much of what we're seeing, I've been in protests. I've been doing this shit since college, okay? Laying in streets, chaining myself to trees, whatever. I'm too old now to be doing a lot of that. But I was at Occupy back 3-4 years ago, the very first protest in my adult lifetime where that many people got together, and it was the day the 700 people got arrested. JJ and I were both in New York. We saw it. We were like right at the front of that line there.
Wow.
And that kind of kicked all this off before it petered out. And then we find out that they had snipers on the tops of all the buildings in New York.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was pretty scary. But, here's the thing. This is orchestrated. We saw orchestration going on back then when we were at Occupy, that Soros group. We'd gotten pictures of their The reason we found that out is because we'd gotten pictures of their signs. And when we got back, we were like, I don't know, long story short, the march went the wrong direction. Instead of going to Wall Street, it ended up on the bridge. And when everyone went up on the bridge, that's when all the police buses came in and arrested everybody. And when we played it back to our heads and went through our photos, we were like, yeah, this whole busload of these people got off right as the march was starting, and they piled behind us. We were right next to the street. Everyone else was more like in that little Zuccotti Park square that they had, but we were like back as far as we could get next to the street. This bus pulls up, all these people pile off, and they all have these yellow signs with some logo on it and a website. And that's how we found out who they were, because, of course, afterward, we're looking this place up, and we're like, oh, who are they, and how are they financed? But as they all got off the bus, they all started to stream along the back of the crowd and just continue in the direction of the bridge. And, you know, like crowd mentality.
Yep.
People follow.
That's right.
You know? And that's what happened. And so the event, I don't even think the march was supposed to start. It was pretty close, but no one had yelled go. And the whole crowd just started to follow him, and that's what happened. But when I'm watching these now, like in Ferguson was anger, and then you had Asian provocateurs, right?
Yes.
I don't care whether or not that AutoZone was proven to be burned down by thugs in riot gear or not. I mean, I agree. It looks like those aerial photos show that one vehicle that they were claiming had a flashbang grenade tossed into it was still there. I agree with that. But what I saw from that very same footage in that video that we watched is that whole street looked like it had been locked down with police. Okay? They had secured that street. I didn't see protesters anywhere in any of that video footage. It was all cops dressed in riot gear everywhere.
Yep.
And that whole street, just about every building that burned was on that street. So there was a street that was locked down. So what they do? Wait until all the cops left and then burn it down? Like that
no.
That doesn't. To me, that just raises a big eyebrow. Like, how did the one street with all the cops on it that was secured end up burning down? But, you know, take another step now. Now let's go fast forward to New York City. You know, argue, like I'm saying, these events that precipitated the protests too. I'm not saying anybody was innocent, neither of them. I'm not saying the cops were in either of these cases. I think they were guilty. And I'm not saying that the people who got killed were either. I think they were both guilty from some extent. Do they deserve to die for being guilty? No. And that's the point. Okay? I saw someone in chat yesterday going off, well, you know, stealing cigars and selling, you know, terrorizing the merchants by selling untaxed cigarettes. But, well, that doesn't mean that they deserve to die. And that's the point, okay?
Well, you had written a story saying that they didn't even find cigarettes on the guy. So what the hell?
And they didn't. But he was like a repeat offender. So apparently that means he should die.
Right.
Because, you know, he repeated offended. But what I want to get to is, as I'm watching then these protests in New York, and I think I talked about this a few days back, you know, are these people really marching because they give two shits about Eric Garner, or they really believe that there's police brutality because they saw it on TV? Do they really know anyone who's had their faces kicked in by a cop? Because I'm going to say probably no. I'm going to say that the majority of the people in New York and D.C., and I'm not saying all, because there are people out there like us who get it, but there's a large number of people that are the TV generation that think they're cool, that, because something's going on, they're going to jump on the bandwagon, the Me Too people.
Right.
And so a lot of these protesters that are out there aren't even people who give two shits. They're people who want to look cool in front of their friends, because now we're out there protesting police brutality. And yesterday it was, you know, the humpback whales or gay rights or whatever.
Or whatever George Soros pays him to protest.
I don't even think he's paying any of those people. I mean, I don't know. I know when I was in college, I was into the environment. And, that wasn't something that was trendy for me. That's just something I've always been into. But you saw people like when they were raising the bus fee that we had to pay every year as part of our tuition, everybody came out. And it wasn't necessarily that they cared about the $23 bus fee increase. It's because it was cool.
Right.
It was cool to be a protester. And, especially in New York City where fashion trends, whether or not you get your Gucci bag or... Yeah. I mean, my sister's lived there since the 80s. So, I mean, I even watch her for, as savvy as she can be. She likes to be cool because she's in New York. It only costs you $3,000 a month for a studio apartment over a sewer plants, but hey, it's cool to live in New York. The mentality is like that there.
Sure.
So when I watch this, I just really wonder, and they're like, oh, now it's expanded. It's expanded to Boston, and it's expanded to D.C. Has it really, though? Or are these people that are up there marching people who just think it's cool to now be on TV and to be a part of something?
Right.
And these are the people you don't necessarily want out there because these are the dumbasses.
Right, exactly.
These are the dumb people. These are the people who've been laying on the couch watching TV who now think it's cool to go protest because they saw Snooki doing it,
Snooki doing it. That's funny.
And I mean, I probably just made a whole bunch of enemies over this, but
yeah, but
you know what? That's exactly what's going on. Don't tell me I'm wrong because I've seen it. I've watched it. Okay.
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
And I'm watching it again. And Berkeley. Oh, all the colleges are getting out. Well, of course. So the colleges are getting out. The college kids are bored. They don't really want to have to go back home to mom and dad. Hey, let's protest.
Let's all lay in the street, have a die-in, and say, I can't breathe.
Right. There you go.
Trendy.
That's what it is. So, people are calling attention. Maybe it's calling attention to something, but I'm telling you, I don't think calling all this attention, all this stuff, and getting the international, I don't even know what you want to call them, bombing squad involved is the best order of business.
No, it's not.
It's getting the attention now of the same guys that have gone in and dropped humanitarian peace bombs at all the Middle East.
Bingo.
Not a good idea.
No.
People don't think before they leap.
They don't think at all, mostly. I mean, you're not going to get people making that connection. You're not going to get people to see that all this crap is just totally engineered and it's best not to go and do it. Like I've been saying the whole time since Ferguson, is better to stay silent and let the silence speak volumes. You know what I mean? And
I don't know about the silent. I can't ever stay silent. You don't want to be silent because by being silent, then you're giving them a consent.
True.
Be really loud, but don't get involved in something that can then be used against you. So mob mentality rules. And you saw what happened in Ferguson. You get large groups of stupid people together,
right,
and usually it's some sort of disaster. I don't put myself into a position where the actions of the group are going to stand for something that I believe. And so, I know that they're protesting this brutality, and that's a good thing. But remember that they're also using the civil disobedience as reasons to now point to, I don't know, domestic terrorists. I don't know. Look, I'm telling you what, that huge fire in L.A., Did you see that? The expressway.
Yes.
I mean, it was massive. It was an apartment complex.
I read about it yesterday.
I heard there were 2 buildings that were on fire, but all the video shows just this massive apartment complex burning. But when I first saw it, the first thing I thought was, oh, somebody burned it down. And I mean, it was like tinder. I mean, honestly, that thing went up so hot, and it was super, super dry wood. That was very obvious. Anyone who was fascinated with fire, like I've been since a child, you know, a wet wood fire versus a dry wood fire. And that was some of the driest wood I've seen in a long time. And all I kept thinking to myself was, wow, holy shit, people weren't living in there.
It was a brownstone apartment complex.
No, it was still being built, though. How do you know it was brownstone?
Oh, well, they were saying it was a European style.
Oh, well, it was just still sticks. It was just the stick frame.
Oh, I see.
Everything I saw. It was in the process of being constructed. But first thing I thought was, ooh, arson. As like, you know, protesters.
Right.
Because they just had all those issues in Berkeley. And I saw then they came out after the fire was out, and they're like, they're not ruling arson out. So you wait and see, because if they can somehow now connect dots to somebody in one of these police brutality groups now starting an arson at this large soon-to-be apartment complex that shut down 2 highways in one of the nation's biggest cities. Wow, isn't that going to smack of domestic terrorism?
Sure will. They'll use it as such, too.
You know, and don't think that they're not doing the 254 point facial recognition software, and every single one of these people that are showing up without masks.
Oh, yeah, they're
categorized. No one thought of that.
Right?
Every single one of these people.
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
They're taking names and taking pictures.
I mean, I don't think names and pictures matter, honestly. Every single person in the United States is on that list now. Yeah. Every single one of us has done something somewhere for them to go, well, yes, you're American. American right. Cuts it. Oh, what? And not American. You're human.
Right.
Oh, and you're not rich. Right. You're not in the billionaires butt rubbing club.
Right. Exactly. Cannon fodder, you die.
I saw 2 Swedish police raided Pirate Bay. So I don't really know if Pirate Bay has gone down before, but if you remember the .com, Kim.com.
Yeah.
With file sharing. This is another torrent service of some kind.
Oh, didn't know that. Okay.
Pirate Bay?
No idea.
I'm pretty certain Pirate Bay was like some sort of torrent sharing website like Kim.com, which I don't even remember what the name of this site was. But yes, it's been taken offline, and it's very interesting that it was by the Swedish police. We had talked about this. So remember, the TPP and the TPIP is still in the works, people, and a lot of the TPP included copyright laws. International copyright laws. And one of the things that was a big deal about Kim.com getting arrested is that he was arrested on charges from the United States, and U.S. law enforcement got permission from New Zealand to go in there and arrest him. Now, I don't think he ever got extradited. He went through trial in New Zealand, and I see now he's absolutely broke. He lost everything. But, of course,
oh my God,
you have people out there going, yes, but he was, copyrighted material. Oh, yeah, I'm sure all these multi-billion-dollar media corporations are really crying the blues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure that they probably lost some revenue, but come on. How money hungry is money hungry?
It's ridiculous. They're just trying to create like concentrated I don't know what the word I'm trying to find is, but they're just trying to concentrate power.
Well, no, they're using copyright as an excuse to shut everybody up, to shut things down, to prevent sharing, to, this is why in the very beginning with UCY, I really kind of put my foot down about playing copyrighted shit because, you know what? They've talked about putting teeth into the copyright law. The $500,000 fine in the FBI investigation apparently isn't enough on the front of VCR tapes, against copyright infringement. So they've been talking about putting teeth into the copyright law, which equals a felony on first infraction. Well, I'm telling you what, I'm not getting a felony for anybody. Sorry.
Right.
So if you want to play copyrighted stuff, go do it somewhere else. What? I got to sit and fight 22 fucking YouTube infringements because you want to play copyrighted stuff? Then guess what? Your shit doesn't go on YouTube. And there's a couple shows. You know what? 2 years. Their show hasn't been going to YouTube because you know what? They won't fucking stop playing shit in the background of their shows. So Sorry, I pulled the plug. But, there's an end result here. When they can make copyright law something where they can charge you, some 17-year-old kid at your computer has been downloading from Pirate Bay with a felony, there's a freaking problem. And nobody seems to see all these truthers out here who seem to have an issue with not being able to play copyrighted content. Every time you play copyrighted content, you're feeding the machine. Why would you even be feeding the machine? And you're giving them a reason to point to you and say, you're the reason why we're cracking down. Because you're playing copyrighted content, you're not authorized, and you didn't pay for it. Well, you know what? Big middle finger to corporate media then. Because I'm not going to play any. How's that? And now you're not getting any of my business. And I'm not going to promote you in any way, shape, or form. Ha! What are you going to do?
There you go.
And you know what? That's a bigger statement than thinking I snuck around copyright laws. I don't need you. How's that?
Right. That's great. That's even better, actually.
So when you see stuff like Pirate Bay being taken down, I just see this. I mean, again, this was sharing. It was torrents, whatever. But the fact that we can have international copyright coalition police coming in to take shit down in the internet should be what's bothering you. And they're using copyright and these large media corporations crying as the reason for doing this. Not for sharing free information. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to prevent the sharing of information.
Yes.
I gotta love every time something uploads to YouTube and it runs it through the scanner to see if there's a content match.
Oh, I know. It's just ridiculous.
It says police in Sweden carried out a raid in Stockholm today, seizing servers, computers, and other equipment. At the same time, the Pirate Bay and several other torrent-related sites disappeared offline. Although no official statement has been made, TF, which is the name of the publication, TF sources confirm action against the Pirate Bay. For many years, the Pirate Bay has been sailing by the seat of its pants, so any downtime is met with concern for its millions of users. This morning, for the first time in months, the Pirate Bay disappeared offline, and a number of concerned users emailed TF for information, but at that point, technical issues seem the most likely culprit. However, over in Sweden, authorities have just confirmed that a local police carried out a raid in Stockholm this morning as part of an operation to protect intellectual property. There you go. I'm going to tell you what, the U.S., I will guarantee you the U.S. is going to get involved in this because there were probably ripped movies and things out there.
Sure.
There's been a crackdown on a server room in Greater Stockholm, and this is in connection with violations of copyright law. By the way, copyrights were not international, if you knew that. You had to have copyrights in different countries. And one of their biggest issues was China and counterfeiting. And as part of these international agreements, by making copyright laws part of these international agreements, they now can have global copyright police. So check this out.
That's right.
Says,
Interpol.
Well, kind of, yeah. Or guess what? The Microsoft Cyber Crime Center. They talked about that. Microsoft has been a stickler for licensing from way back because of their software. And they ran their software assurance desks. They had training programs and everything for it. So trust me, these guys are coming for it. And they're going to put teeth into these copyright laws because it's going to shut you up. You know, it's way, they make you think that it's, these poor media companies losing profit. No, it's a way to shut you up.
Yes.
So this has been a crackdown on a server room in Greater Stockholm, and this is in connection with violations of copyright law. I read a statement from Paul Pintier, Police National Coordinator for IP Enforcement. You hear that title? Police National Coordinator for IP Enforcement.
Yikes.
Police are staying quiet on the exact location of the operation, the targets involved, but the fact that the National Police IP Chief, is involved at this early stage suggests something sizable. There were a number of police officers and digital forensics experts there. So trust me, anyone who's been to Pirate Bay, I'd be moving now.
Yeah.
They're probably going to find you. And one story that we didn't go over, because I've only been doing 1 day here, 2 days a week here, so kind of got lost in the shuffle, was, and I called this the day it happened, the day that, it just slipped my mind. What the hell is it called? The where they're buying all the drugs and shit online using Bitcoin.
Silk Road.
Silk Road! The new Silk Road got busted. Oh,
right.
We didn't know that was going to happen.
Right.
After the FBI took it down and then mysteriously it came back up under some new owner's name. Oh, and it's safe. Let's go back out there and buy drugs with our untrackable used encryption
Bitcoin.
From the CIA originally, but we're not going to tell anybody that Bitcoin. Yes.
That's great.
I couldn't believe, and it did definitely deserve to be mocked that they got busted again. I mean, honestly, anyone who is that dumb,
oh my God, really,
marching in there and buying drugs to have them shipped to their home,
unbelievable. Adam Kokesh did, and he put it on YouTube that he did it.
Oh, he did not.
Yes, that's what.
He's as dumb as a rock. Can I tell you that? I mean, after the march on Washington, and then he got arrested, and then he's crying about it. I'm sorry, all you libertarian people, but I think he's as dumb as a rock. All right, do what you got to do, but why would you put it on YouTube?
He filmed himself doing DMT and said, I got it on the Silk Road and this is how you can do it. You just got to use the Bitcoin and you got to go here and you got to do this and then you can get drugs shipped to your house anonymously. Yeah, right.
I mean, why would you film yourself doing anything? Whether it's carrying a loaded gun on Washington like he did, or doing DMT, which probably isn't legal, regardless of where you got it. Why would you film yourself in the perpetration of a crime?
I know.
Isn't that why they're pushing for all these cameras on cops?
Oh my God.
Even though it's not going to matter. But it is for you.
Right?
Put yourself on camera doing something illegal and then put it on the internet. And see how long it's going to take for that to end up in your CIA/FBI/terrorist watch list file.
Right.
Not long at all. Wow, that's dumb.
It is.
Don't do this at home, folks.
Please.
Wow. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people hate me for some of the things I say. Yeah, but I mean, that's just common sense. That's dumb. I personally think, if you want to know my honest opinion, and I know that there are hosts on this network that love that guy, I think he's a shill. I think, actually, that we didn't do that story about the cop who went on YouTube, the former police chief, shooting him up, saying, gun rights, blah, blah, blah. He came out in an interview. Did you hear that? Like a week or so ago, saying he was paid by the feds to actually do that. And he's helped get a whole bunch of quote unquote liberty movement groups arrested because of that.
No shit. I didn't hear that at all.
I got it all posted, and I got the interview with him saying that. Yes, he was paid by the feds to do that.
Well,
No, the cop. This cop that did the video shooting him up about gun rights.
Okay.
But I'm saying, Kokesh, when he was trying to get everyone to take their loaded weapons to Washington, and then nobody did it, so he did it himself. That's the type of person that we're talking about. Like, nobody bid on it. And he ended up going to jail. Like, jail, wink. Like, where's Adam? Oh, he disappeared. I don't know. He's probably, like, in a penthouse with honeypots saying, thank you for all your hard work.
Right.
No, I don't know. They supposedly had him in a box somewhere. But, that exact behavior is the behavior that somebody who was a paid shill would do.
It's true. That's how
let's do it. Let's make ourselves a martyr, and then let's get all these dumb people who follow and don't think for themselves to follow me.
Absolutely.
Bing, always think before you leap. And you know what? Just because something looks like it's a good idea doesn't mean you have to do it. I learned something way back. Lay back in the shadows, okay? You don't need to be the first to be popular. You know what I mean? You don't need to be cool, because that was him, that whole March on Washington thing, that was another cool thing.
Right?
Let's be we're going to stand up against this police state, and we're going to march to Washington with loaded guns. Well, no, that was pretty dumb.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. And all these people are ready to go. I'm like, wow. That's not very bright now, is it?
Oh, my God.
Especially if you don't want to end up on the front page or with a bullet between your eyes.
Right.
Hang back, man. Use your brain. Let the gears turn and get situational awareness.
Yes.
Right? That's called survival. And
Keywords.
I've spent many, many years putting myself in other shoes and scenarios for playing through survival scenarios in my head. That's why I love Pepper Chicks After Dark, because I've been doing that for years on my own. So now it's fun to have like a group of people.
Yeah.
But I mean, even since 9/11, we've talked about this on air. What quote unquote terrorists, for years before I was ever awake to the fact that any of this was orchestrated, I used to sit around and put terrorist scenarios in my head to try to figure out like all the crazy things that they could do to us and where I should be afraid. And not that being afraid is good, but being able to put yourself in the mindset so you could play through the consequences without ever having to live there, you know what I mean, is a really good way to plan.
It is. And people better be starting to do this for when the lights go out.
Well, not just that. People should be starting to do this for all these outbreaks of public support and outrage, because I'm telling you, these aren't all they're cracked up to. And though it makes me happy to see people get their asses off the couch, what is the end result of this? What? We got more cops on the street. Now they're pointing, going, oh, look, they got violent. We had things burning down regardless of who did it. It's blamed on the protesters.
Absolutely.
It just makes the people an easy target.
It's a giant setup, yeah.
And nobody's using their brain. It's not being smart about it. Writing stories about this stuff and having them go viral, that's very smart, because I've seen now, mainstream media is hurting for ratings. Well, this is getting a lot of ratings. Are they doing it justice? No, not really. On the other hand, they're getting the message out there. I got to tell you, even though there might be trendies out marching in the streets, it's waking people up like our moms and dads.
Right.
You know, people who never paid attention before are now going, wow, there seems to be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, that is true. That's the only thing that it's doing. And, I mean, you'd be better off, like, exactly, writing a story on it, or, you know, even all the little comments and stuff.
Documenting some proof.
Absolutely.
Getting some numbers together. But here's the sad fact of the matter. We cannot let the UN, and I'm warning you guys, I'm watching this happen right now. I've been watching this whole UN thing for a while now and connect the dots with this UN torture report now. People, they're going to come in here and say that our human rights are being violated. They already came out. The UN came out and said how unhappy they were with the grand jury decision. And did you see that the UN was even questioning the validity of the grand jury? And I mean, not that the grand jury is anything to stand by, as we've seen, and they've shown how easily they could be swayed by prosecutors. But the fact that the grand jury is now being questioned as part of our legal system by an international organization should concern you.
Big time. Because they will pose as the saviors and come rescue all of the...
And you know how they're going to rescue us? Make us part of an international consortium in the New World Order.
That's correct.
Hey, then we'll all fix it. This is going to be happy Agenda 21 world.
Yeah.
It's coming.
We'll also fix your climate, too.
Yeah, we'll fix your climate, too. I don't know. That's at least in my brain, when these dots connect, that's what I see. And it's all a part of everything. Taking Pirate Bay down, I know it seems absolutely unrelated, but it's not. Remember, copyright crackdown is coming as a part of TPP and the TPIP.
Which is all internationally based.
It absolutely is. Yes. International copyright. Yes. Yes.
And if that doesn't scare everybody, I don't know what's going to scare you. Because it's damn well scaring the hell out of me.
Well, I don't know if you should be necessarily scared, but we shouldn't be calling any dumbass who's running to the UN going, help us! Our rights are being violated. People, you forget, we pay the bills. When I pay the bills, what I say goes. My house, you know, my father, I pay the bills around here. Well, that's the same way it should be in this country. We pay the bills. So get the F out. You're fired. Fired. I mean, for all of them. For Congress, for the president.
Yep.
For police. For the school boards?
Yep.
We're paying for all of it. I think it's time to start over. I don't know. I don't think we should wipe the slate clean and destroy the whole system. We just need to get the corruption and the money out of it. You know, how many citizens would love to have a new big cushy job in Congress? I don't remember how much they said they got paid. $120, something like that, $1,000 a year.
Yeah, something like that. Even though they actually make millions.
Well, that's on the insider trading.
Insider trading, yeah.
That's on the legal. No, I don't know honestly if it's completely legal anymore, but they absolutely turn their eyes the other direction and not pay attention.
Sure, absolutely.
I am trying to find here.
Benefits.
I have not played enough videos, and I want to play something that is probably way back now in my where is it? Liked videos. Oh, Yeah, here, wait. Let's listen to George Bush. Oh. Hold on. We're going to listen to George. What the fuck?
Georgie Porgy.
We're going to listen to George Bush refute the torture report.
Oh, shit.
I should have put that on my WTF page.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you at some point in this interview about the Senate Intelligence Committee report that's coming out sometime next week about the CIA and what it did during your era.
Yeah, I haven't seen the report.
I haven't either. I would expect it would be somewhat critical.
But I'll tell you this. Well, first of all, as I understand, it'll be critical, but there's also going to be a report of a counter report coming out of the agency. Here's what I'm going to say.
By the way, I watched an interview with some former CIA guy yesterday, and he kept saying, he's like, well, this report's only one-sided, and there's a whole other side of the story to tell, and, we're working on that report, so I'm assuming that's what Bush is talking about, the counter report.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how do you justify force-feeding rectally as a punishment?
Don't.
No, you don't. So that's all I got to say. Here, let me play the rest of this.
That we're fortunate to have men and women who work hard at the CIA serving on our behalf. These are patriots.
I guess they are, huh?
And whatever the report says, if it diminishes their contributions to our country, it is way off base. And I knew the directors, I knew the deputy directors, I knew a lot of the operators. These are good people, really good people, and we're lucky as a nation to have them.
Can you fucking believe that? And I mean, the fact that Daddy Bush used to be in charge of the CIA,
right?
And you knew something was coming because Bush had been popping his head up, a couple times now over the last few weeks. But gotta tell you, Hillary has to have some major indigestion because this came right on the heels of this interview.
You've often referred to Bill Clinton, and you talked about his relationship with your father and how it developed, and your mother as well, and he's your brother from another mother. What does that make Hillary Clinton to the Bush family?
My sister-in-law.
No way.
And she walked away from that Benghazi scandal without one piece of shit on her. Remember, she fell down, she hit her head, she couldn't testify because she forgot all about, which, by the way, we did call on this show.
That's right.
And I mean, I was literally joking. When I first saw her hit her head, I said, oh, watch, she's going to say I had a memory lapse. And she did.
Did.
I couldn't believe it. But she walked away from that scot-free, and now all the stank has been settled. You saw they finally finished that investigation, and they came out. I don't think we even got to cover that. They came out beyond a shadow of a doubt. There was no wrongdoing at all, and those were all conspiracy theories. That's what they said officially.
Right.
So, case closed.
Yep.
Hillary's running for president, and she came out smelling like a rose. But for this torture report, everybody knows that this was on Bush's watch, and his connections to the CIA back multi-generationally. And then to have him, this is like 7 Degrees to Kevin Bacon, but even better.
Yeah.
Right? To have him say that Hillary is like his sister-in-law, right as the 2016... they're all still running their PACs to see whether or not they should be running. But that could not be good for her.
No, I mean, really not. But it's funny as hell.
It is funny as hell. Now, isn't he a Republican, though? Isn't she a Democrat?
I thought so,
yeah. So maybe that's why. It was like he just got a bonus from the Republican Party because he just cut her off at the knees. I don't know. I just couldn't believe. I was like, oh my God. If I were the Clintons, I'd be going, shut up.
But apparently Bush is always really an annoying fly in the ointment, apparently, anyway, for the Democrats.
All right, here, I'm going to play the rest of this.
And do you think that your brother could run against your sister-in-law?
Yeah, and I think he'd beat her.
Do you?
I do. I do.
She's formidable.
Very much so. No question. So is he, though.
Good old Jeb Bush. Again, like we said, in some alter universe, he was responsible for not having, because there is an alter universe where Al Gore was actually president. I don't know which would have been worse. Though Man Bear Pig probably wouldn't. I don't know.
Man Bear Pig. Oh my god.
All right, here's the end of this.
So you'll take that bet?
Absolutely.
So he's betting on Jeb winning the election. Did you hear that?
Well, sure. Can't bet on a brother from another mother.
They would make him illegitimate.
That's right. Jeez. Oh my god! This is the monarch here in this country. They're describing themselves as self-proclaimed monarchs. Is what this is.
Yeah. I'm just looking through my playlist because I originally hadn't even. Oh, I wonder what happened there. I originally hadn't even planned on playing this, but it was in my list. What I'm looking for is, and you know what? Now I already lost it all, so we'll go on to something else. I was going to continue with some copyright law in the Cyber Patrol Center because there's all kinds of stuff going on with that, but there's too much and I can't find it. So,
oh dang,
time is ticking. Someday I will.
Well, Piers Morgan came out like yesterday or the day before and said that America needs a monarch. Well, we've already got one. It's the Bushes and the Clintons. We've got two competing.
Who's monarchs. Piers Morgan?
Piers Morgan.
Why does he matter? Where is he?
He's like
I thought
underneath
he quit
the
CNN.
Yeah, he did. He was fired from CNN.
Where is he then?
Let go. I don't know, but he came out somehow on some kind of clip. There's a clip out there with him saying it, so I don't know, but he thinks that...
And it's a new one?
Monarch, yeah. I could find that.
Nah, I don't care. I hate Piers Morgan with a passion.
Me too. Me too.
I wouldn't mention him even. All right, New York Times. 7 key points from the CIA torture report, and this is actually the entire interactive torture report online. It's interesting how this New York Times got that up really fast, too. 7 key points from the CIA torture report. Again, remember, people, so this is coming right on the heels of all of the calls for police brutality investigations in the UN crunching their brow at the police brutality in the United States, the inhumanity, and the inability of the grand jury to apparently put out fair and impartial decisions. You know that they are calling also now for terror attacks on U.S. targets around the world because of this CIA report, right?
Of course.
So, again, what does this do? It marches us more down the road of police state.
That's right.
It's the whole thing is it makes my stomach upset. Like, I mean, how many more days do we have to talk about this shit? That's why, I mean, honestly, I've been having a real hard time even getting my ass out of bed in the morning to do this because I don't want to fucking do this anymore. I've said that before. I want to be dealing with fun things like King Richard buried under a parking lot. That's interesting to me.
Right.
Having to deal with these sick bastards that I wish would just all go die somewhere. You know, I mean, get back to the Bush era. The fact that this is all, it's still haunting us.
It is. And we're always going to be talking about it, too. It just is never ending.
Well, to all this police state shit all goes back to George Bush as president. And I mean, let's go even to the grand chessboard and Brzezinski, and let's go back to Daddy Bush being head of the CIA and then being president with the first Gulf War. It's all connected, all of it. And I'm sure if we really dug in, we could go even further back. I mean, you know, I'm sure if we had Mr. Ocelli sitting on the panel here today, he could probably tell us how the JFK assassination figured into this as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, I mean, we can trace it all the way back to the early 1900s with Bernays and our whole consumeristic society. It all ties together. And it probably even goes long before that. I mean, I remember hearing about the whole Titanic thing, how all the guys who wanted to put the Federal Reserve into place gave the rich bastards who didn't want the Federal Reserve in place tickets on the newfangled ship that went down. All those people who were against the Federal Reserve, the billionaires or the millionaires, all died on the Titanic.
That I did not know.
That was one of the very, very first shows that I heard on alternative radio.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'll point it out to you one of these days.
Damn, you learn something new every day.
I took lots of notes that day. Yeah.
Right on.
All right. So, number 1, 7 key points from the CIA torture report. 1, the CIA's interrogation techniques were more brutal and employed more extensively than the agency portrayed. Hey, you know what? Hold on. We need to play some background music for this.
There you go.
I like my bird song. Or actually, there's another one that I use often too. New music. Hold on. I got it in a folder here. Hello. Oh, Voodoo Like You Do, I think is what it is. Voodoo Like You Do. Here we go. Let's voodoo like you do. All right. Actually, this would be good. We can make it all dramatic. I just got to find my story again. And it's trying to launch playing. Here it comes. Oh. Turn it down a little. All right. 7 key points from the CIA torture report. Number 1. The CIA's interrogation techniques were more brutal and employed more extensively than the agency portrayed. Number 2, the CIA interrogation program was mismanaged and was not subject to adequate oversight. Number 3, the CIA misled members of Congress and the White House about the effectiveness and the extent of his brutal interrogation techniques. Number 4, interrogators in the field who tried to stop the brutal techniques were repeatedly overruled by senior CIA officials. Number 5, the CIA repeatedly underreported the number of people it detained and subjected to harsh interrogation techniques. Number 6, at least 26 detainees were wrongfully held and did not meet the standards for detention. 7, CIA leaked classified information to journalists exaggerating the success of their interrogation methods to get public support. Here we go. Woo! I'm sorry, I love that tune.
That's funny. That little drums thing at the end was a perfect way to end it. It was
on a Casio.
Yeah. Little drum machine.
I use that tune a lot when I'm cutting Brandon's show for the clips in the center.
Oh, right.
There with the music, and I try to like work it with the music. I sit here and bop my head.
That worked out perfectly, Jules. That was great.
I just hope they could hear it. I mean, I don't know. We don't have chat, but hopefully it didn't squash over the audio. So one of the things I want to read here. So this report describes extensive waterboarding is a series of near drownings and suggests that more prisoners were subjected to waterboarding than the 3 prisoners the CIA had acknowledged in the past. Only 3? The report also describes detainees being subjected to sleep deprivation, which we knew that, for up to a week, medically unnecessary rectal feedings, and death threats. I also read that a bunch of them had committed suicide. Conditions at one prison, described by a clandestine officer as a dungeon, were blamed for the death of a detainee, and the harsh techniques were described as leading to psychological and behavioral issues, including hallucinations, paranoia, insomnia, and attempts at self-harm and self-mutilation. All right, people, there's about 25 seconds left of the show. So, today is not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. Don't forget. And look, it won't even click. So make sure you stick around. We got Mr. Hal Anthony up next. Then Mr. John Stokes, Jack Blood. We got a rebroad of Geoengineering Watch at 5. Josh live at 6. The boys, Jonathan and Stephen, live at 8. Truth or Talk with the ladies at 9. And live with Nick and DB at 11. Anti-Media Radio. Thank you so much for being on today, Wendy. Thank you for steering the ship out of the rocks yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's all right.
And
thank you, Jules.
There we go. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a happy Wednesday. And make sure you stick around. All right, we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Take care.